to walk into the pressures of managing PSG because you're just expected to win everything straight off the bat, aren't you? But then also when you've got the likes of Mbappe and Neymar and then add Messi to the equation, your ego control will have to be top.
Not only to top, but you think about it, it got off to probably the worst possible start in terms of not winning the French league, which is impossible for PSG not to win that. Obviously, Champions League is you can try it, but obviously didn't win the competition. But when you then add, as you said, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, and by the way, Donnarumma, the goalkeeper, Sergio Ramos, Wijnaldum, I mean, Hakimi, you'd be given absolutely everything. Yeah. So he has got the Champions League. I understand there's other very, very good squads, and money will only get you so far in terms of you bringing in the players, but ultimately they've got to go on the pitch and do it. But Manchester City as a team, I just think look more rounded and understand. I think understand exactly what they want Pep to do.
It's funny, Benny. Would you let me know what you think? Because I watch Pochettino now, right, and his interviews and things like that. And remember we used to speak about Mourinho losing the sparkle and not being the same person. I'm not saying he's not the same person, but when things were going well at Spurs, there was a glint in his eye. I'm just reading an article, a great article with Tom Williams in the Times, and he's more or less saying that. In the interviews that I've seen with Pochettino, I think he's lost that kind of glint in his eye, the happiness, the smile, and I don't know whether the pressure, and clearly it's a massive, massive job with an unbelievable amount of pressure. I don't know whether it's just kind of affecting him a little bit. You're right. I mean, how they never won that league last year. I mean, Lille were tremendous, I've got to say, but that's a league you would think they should automatically be winning.
Was the damage already done before he came in, though? The early stages of PSG and
maybe, but there were games that he did lose towards the back end of the season. I mean, what I said there probably didn't even make sense. But yeah, the back end
of the
season wasn't great. But yeah, this season, you're right, Ali. He looks like it's got to get to him because even the other day when he made the decision to take off Messi and Messi gave him a look, like that was everywhere, that story. Even it might have been nothing. It might have been Messi just saying, no, I'm fine. It could have been anything, but the fact that he took Messi off, it absolutely blew up. And I think we're going to see this on a number of occasions because, again, he's kind of in that situation where how does he make the big calls? Messi, Neymar, Mbappe.
Benny, you're 100% right. And by the way, the same people, ourselves included, would be lining up to criticise him for not taking Messi off if Messi should have been the one to come off. You know what I mean? So he's kind of in a no-win situation there.
As well, I think for Maurizio Pochettino, originally in terms of his career, when he went into management, the steps were continually going up for him, weren't they? For a while, the progression was up from Southampton to Spurs, Champions League final. And then all of a sudden, that separation between Spurs and Maurizio Pochettino was more than just a normal firing, I think. It was very deep for Maurizio Pochettino, who took that club into his heart, and the players were almost like his kids in a certain way, weren't they? The connection that they had. So the time that he was out in football, I imagine, was probably quite difficult for him. And then going in to take a job like PSG, where automatically you're favourites of the Champions League now as well, because you've got these new players and you've got to make it all work.
The players run that dressing room, by the way. There's no doubt. There's no doubts about it. And Pochettino, you kind of earn the right in terms of with certain players, and maybe some of them players right now at the minute maybe aren't sold on Pochettino. I think he first came in, he criticised Mbappe. That was a big headline. So everything he does with these players, these superstars, he's going to get judged on.
You've also got an Mbappe who was very, very vocal and very honest about the fact that he didn't want to be there anymore. He wanted to go, Ali.
Yeah. And it's been evident in his play because he's not been in form, let's be honest about it. Mbappe in the top of the game, and I remember listening, I think it was Tony Cascarino actually said his form's, in comparison to what it was really poor. And when you look at it, Cass is absolutely right. He has not, Mbappe has not progressed the way that they thought he would when he burst onto the scene. For example, World Cup final 2018, we thought, wow, this guy's going to go, just go to a stratosphere. And he hasn't. He's still got the time and potential to do it, but he hasn't. And I don't know, but you can look at players and maybe kind of Neymar and Mbappe might be too, I don't know whether you agree or not, Benny, but they look like two to me if things don't go their way.
Down tools.
They've got the potential to down tools, throw toys out the pram. Yeah.
And that's where Pochettino will suffer because, and if you throw Messi into the equation, he arguably is the greatest player ever, but at times for Barcelona he did look disinterested. And now if obviously Pochettino's taking him off, Mbappe doesn't fancy it, Neymar doesn't fancy it, they might get him the sack because, as I said, I think that dressing room with that calibre of player, they rule the dressing room. They run that club.
Tonight will be a good test against Manchester City. Pep Guardiola was asked about how his team are going to stop the likes of Neymar, Mbappe and Lionel Messi, who is fit to play. Let's have a listen.
With this amount of quality, I don't know what we should do to stop them, honestly. I don't know. They are so good. So the talent and this amount of talent all together to be controlled is so difficult. So we're going to try to to defend well when we don't have the ball and try to to let them run when we have the ball. This is what we have to do.
Ali, you were saying earlier on that the best way to defend against a team like that is just keep hold of the ball.
Yeah.
The best way to beat them.
It's easier said than done, but I thought they did it unbelievably well against Chelsea, because Pierce said it and I was the same. I couldn't see Chelsea losing that game, particularly coming off a run of 3 victories against Manchester City. But Guardiola got them spot on. Everything about City at the weekend were magic. It really was magic. And one of the secrets was, and their ability to keep the ball in possession and use the ball was excellent. But even when they did lose it, their press was phenomenal. And I think, and I hear what Pierce was saying, you do give up space at the back, but if they could do the same against PSG and stop, and it's, as I say, it's a far easier thing that's said and done, if you can stop the majority of the ball getting to those front boys as quickly as possible, then clearly that would suit you.
Who's a better team, Man City or PSG?
On paper, you look at the superstars that potentially PSG have got, and you'd say, it has to be PSG. But if you're talking in terms of team and the way they kind of gel, Manchester City, I'll take Manchester City all day, every day over PSG. I mean, even if you look at PSG at the weekend, they won 2-0, but in the midfield of Paredes, Herrera and just a guy.
Yeah.
How many of them get into the Manchester City team? None. Absolutely none.
City are a well-oiled machine as well, aren't they? And they know what they've done wrong in the past in the Champions League. So every time they come back and you think that maybe this is the year and whatnot. But when we look at the favourites, at the beginning of the season, it was PSG, wasn't it? Because they'd made those signings.
Yeah, and I get that. But I still think City not having an out-and-out centre-forward has the potential to come back and bite them, because I think I know they deservedly won the game against Chelsea, albeit a deflected goal with Jesus, but they drew nothing each the week before, and I just think those are the kind of games where an out-and-out centre-forward will nick you one. You can win 1-0, but imagine you're an out-and-out centre-forward playing in that Man City team.
40 a season.
You'd fancy yourself for 40 a season.
Yeah.
And I still think, as good as they are, and they do play it very well with a false nine, whoever it may be, we've seen Foden, Jesus, we've seen them all do play there, I still think they would be better with an out-and-out centre-forward.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.